Hey guys, RanterInShades here, exercising my First Amendment rights vlog style. Now, throughout the 2 years I've made videos about metal elitists on this channel, there have been a few common misconceptions made about what it is that my videos are about and what anti-elitism is that I personally am fucking sick of. You can consider this video a video addressing criticism, but I hardly consider this criticism, but really struggling to make a coherent point. One thing elitists love to say is that people like me are only against elitism and metal because, lol, you're just butthurt that people don't like your favorite band. That is not the case at all. Not everyone likes the exact same music as everyone else, so getting upset over that is kind of pointless. If someone just doesn't really like a band that I like and they have fair reasons, does that bother me? No. Plenty of people I know aren't into certain bands that I personally like, but the difference between them and metal elitists is that they aren't dicks about it. They don't call you names or make you feel inferior because of your own taste or portray themselves as a supreme overlord of all music, but that is not the case for metal elitists. Unlike rational-minded people who know how to be polite when regarding differing opinions, metal elitists find it necessary to seek out fans of a certain band or style of music, belittle them, and spout out baseless and nonsensical drivel and call it fact. You want to know why some people dislike metal or dislike metalheads? Maybe it's because you people are impolite jackasses. Now, personally, I don't believe that the fans make for a good reason to dislike a band or genre of music, as the music and the fans are completely separate entities, which is something I want to talk about in another video. But if you really think it's emos or scene kids that make the metal community look bad, take a look at yourselves. The reality is that it is you that gives the metal community, if I can even call it that, bad name. Sure, there are a good bit of people who identify as scene that are pretty elitist themselves, but don't act like it completely wipes your slate clean. It doesn't change the fact that you were just as obnoxious, if not more so, than the very group of people you claim to despise. If this whole thing were really about deferring opinions, I would be a very shallow person. Do I care if you dislike bands like Avenged Sevenfold? No. Do I care if you go on a complete tirade against Sevenfold and their fans and act like a stubborn jackass who can't take the fact that people like them and label them metal? That is what makes the metal community look bad. That is the shit I stand against. People have tried using the very first video I made about metal elitists, what is the problem with glam, nu metal, and core, as evidence that that's what my entire problem with elitists stems from. Just the fact that they don't like glam, nu metal, or core. No, you idiots! Just like I said a moment ago, I don't have a problem if those styles are just not your thing. But those three styles, along with post-grunge and pop-punk, seem to be the common targets amongst you people for some really fucked up reason. My problem is the fact that people don't like them, since that's something you can't really change. My problem is that A, you have really stupid and illogical reasons to not like them, which I've spent many videos discussing, as well as dedicating an entire series to discussing certain bands you just love to talk about the most often, and B, you treat people like shit just for liking them. Have these people done anything like that to you? I have not seen any evidence that shows they have. Not unless you throw the first punch. So that comes off as you guys being complete jerks to innocent people for no reason. Bringing this back to me, have I ever come off as a douche to random people for liking certain music that I personally don't, or not liking certain music that I do? No. That's not the way I conduct myself when dealing with differing opinions on music, whether it be in a video, in the comments, on my Facebook fan page, or even in real life. The most I'll do is ask someone to explain their reasoning in a logically sound manner. That's not douchey, is it? Which leads me to the other thing I'm sick of hearing from people, that anti-elitists are hypocritical. Now, like I said, the basis of anti-elitism isn't deferring opinions, but this also misrepresents people like me in a way, because elitists like to think that being against musical elitism means having no standards at all, and not disliking a single piece of music at all. And if you say anything negative about any piece of music at all, then by proxy, you're a hypocrite. That is not the case whatsoever. Anti-elitism does not mean not disliking anything, nor does it mean having no musical standards at all. It means being against discrimination based on music taste, ageism within the community, closed-mindedness about other genres of metal, other genres of music, or music from a certain decade, portraying your opinions as fact, and finally, unwillingness to be reasonable and rational regarding differing opinions on either the music being good or bad, quote unquote, or whether the music is metal or not, or whatever the genre in question is, punk, rap, anything. My videos are here to showcase reason, as well as set an example of how to be a decent person when discussing music. I highly doubt a decent person would do any of the things I talked about being against earlier. If anti-elitism really meant having no standards, I'd be the biggest hypocrite, given that I've made videos at the end of the year going over the worst songs of the year, one of which happens to be my most viewed video. Obviously, I have my own personal standards, as does everyone else. But what sets me apart from actual elitists is that, apart from having a pretty varied taste, I'm not trying to come off as a dick who views his own opinions as fact and puts himself on a higher pedestal than everyone else. I even say at the beginning of those videos that if anyone happens to like any of the songs I put on the list, then they're entitled and that there's nothing wrong with it. Don't believe me? Watch the videos. Now here's how this ties into me. For whatever reason, elitists like to think that I'm a hypocrite because I made a video called Why I Don't Like a Lot of Death Metal, and that would contradict the very nature of anti-elitism. Somehow these people think that in that video I talked shit about death metal and said I hated it. Now, I could be wrong, but I seem to remember coming off as reasonable and polite. Didn't use any insults. Didn't try to be hyperbolic or absolutist. Talked about my experiences listening to it. Mentioned certain aspects of metal that I personally enjoyed more from other subgenres. And mentioned death metal bands that I actually like. And even made a footnote of progressive death bands that I like. No, I didn't do that in the video. That video just consisted of, death metal is pure garbage. The vocals sound like shit and the bands are talentless. I would rather listen to Wiz Khalifa say for 10 minutes than a single nanosecond of death metal. And the fans are also gay fucktards who want to suck off Chuck Schuldiner's dead dick. By the way, I'm glad that faggot's dead. Fuck death metal. Anyone who likes it, go chop your nuts off and bleed to death. Retards. Did I say anything like that in my video? No. So stop taking that video out of context just to look for a reason to pull the hypocrite card. This leads me to believe that anyone who thinks I touch shit about death metal didn't even watch the whole video, or just looked at the title and thumbnail and didn't even bother watching it. That does not qualify as adequate research. If you're gonna call someone a hypocrite, do your research and provide evidence. That includes watching an entire video. Really says a lot about your own integrity if you can't even watch an entire video and do legitimate research. Hope this clears everything up. These are arguments I am sick and tired of hearing about what people like myself or other people who are against musical elitism stand for. There may likely be more, in which case I'd make a part 2 to this video, but other than that, that's all I have to say. Hope you enjoyed this video, take care, and have a nice day. I'm Shades, and I'll see you next time.